Hi everyone, Peter Grade here, founder of the Purple House Wellness Center, founders and CEO of Purple House in Tasmania. Good to see you everybody.
Hello everyone.
Tonight we have a special story because something really scary happened to Pete on Saturday night. I call it a divine nudge, right? So sometimes things happen that are like a little bit of a wake-up call. So Pete, do you want to take over and say what happened?
I was coming home from basketball, watching a game of basketball where our son-in-law Paul Campbell plays. I had Cohen, my grandson, with me, and
in the car,
and I was coming back, sitting on just under the speed limit along the highway, just passing the last outlet from Ulverstone, and there were cars coming out, merging into the lane beside me, so I went over into the right-hand side lane, the middle lane, and there were three cars coming up the outlet, and the middle one decided to overtake the first one and come straight out into the side of me almost.
like that far.
I thought he was going to just crash straight into the side of me, and I went over onto the grass verge. My wheels were on the grass verge. It was raining, and I thought, I can't brake, otherwise I'll spin out and could have created a major pile-up. So I just had to hang hold of my steering wheel and keep going at the same speed along the verge. I narrowly missed a guidepost, and the P-plater went out and around the other car. I don't know whether he saw me or not, but I had my hand on the horn, and he probably heard me curse through the glass into his ear, because his ear was only an arm's length away from me, just about. Anyway, I was fuming. So I eventually got the car back onto the hard surface, and I got up beside him and tooted my horn, and then pulled in front of him and put my indicator on for him to pull over. He slowed right down but didn't pull over, and I thought, oh, well, hopefully he got enough, as much of a scare as I did, and I turned off at Turner's Beach and went home.
Yeah, so that was
it was scary, and I reckon Cohen, who was sitting on that side of the car, his eyeball was probably about a foot away from the driver.
I know, it shouldn't have happened.
It was.
Yeah, by the way, can I just interrupt for a minute, and can you let us know that you can hear us, because I just noticed our microphone is not really connected up. So like, just send us a hands up in a message if you can hear us, hopefully.
I've got one on here.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll just, okay, thank you guys. All right, so that makes me feel better. Good. So that was really, really scary. And I was at home asleep with Fia and Nova, that Paul and Mika's children. They're like little kids, 5 and 3, and we were snuggled up in bed and asleep. And then 10 minutes before Peter came home, Freddie, our Labradoodle, started barking frantically, and he was howling and barking. So I got up. I thought somebody must be near the door or something is scaring him. But there was nothing. Like, the house was quiet, nobody was outside, nothing, and he wouldn't stop barking. He just kept barking and barking till Peter came home like 10 minutes later, and then he settled down. So I think, well, I believe that Freddie intuitively knew Peter had just such a real close shave with catastrophic accident, because it could have been a 4-car pile-up, or Pete could have crashed into a signpost or gone through those, what do you call it, bread slices or whatever you call it. With
cheese slices.
I know, with Cohen, our beautiful grandson, in the car too. So that's how quickly accidents can happen.
He probably heard me cursing.
Yeah. No, not really.
No, not really. He was intuitively connected.
Yeah. And so we actually want to just make it about your health, of course, because that's what we're always about. So, like, things happen to us symbolically. I also, by the way, do think there's a message for Peter. Like, things like that are always a wake-up call, right? Nothing in the universe ever happens for no reason or for absolutely just
no
for the heck of
no
it.
coincidences.
No. Everything is a gift. That's how you have to see it. Like, what's the gift for Peter, right? What's the divine nudge, right? So he's still thinking about it. But while Peter is still thinking about it, I want to make it about your health, of course, because you know what? Sometimes we just get, what's the word, blindsided. So like something happened to us for absolutely no good reason. It wasn't called for. And suddenly you've lost your health, right? So it could be like you get a migraine, your hormones are upset.
For no reason, supposedly.
No, that's right. Because you don't really deserve all these kind of things, right? So it's not a punishment thing, or something breaks down in your body, suddenly you're allergic, suddenly you have asthma, what else? Cancer, of course, heart failure,
skin problems.
Yeah, all those kind of things. And so we want to talk about that now, because Pete and I have experienced that as well, because I got hit by a truck in 2006 and I was left with catastrophic injuries that I had to recover from, including like I was paralyzed, and and I'm really, really good now. So Pete and I want to inspire everyone symbolically that you can take a hit, and like it's going to take everything you got, you know, to keep the steering,
if I'd have swerved,
the car on the road, and to keep the car on the road, and not to until the crisis is past, literally till you're out of danger. So we are here to support you because we know what it's like and we've been through it. And Peter, he was born as a baby 63 years ago with life-threatening allergies to different foods. And 63 years ago, people didn't have a clue what to do about it. So Peter, actually, his early life wasn't that good. And and his life got pretty good, of course, after we found each other and we built a good life together. But having said that, it wasn't all that rosy under the surface, because Pete used to suffer from moodiness or withdrawal. Like he would just go into a dark mood and then we become very withdrawn, so he wouldn't be available. And he missed out on many, many, many happy moments that I had with the kids.
No, I didn't.
Till he was about 40.
I hated being like that as well.
I know, so he had no control over it. So again, it was just something that snuck up on him and pushed him off the road. And really all he could do, to his credit, was like hanging on to the steering wheel till he was back on firm ground again. And now we know we're talking about the gut-brain axis. So there's such a thing as gut-brain link, the gut-brain axis. So like whatever goes on in your gut, if something is broken there, it's nearly impossible. Well, it is impossible for you to have a healthy mindset and to feel good in yourself. So Pete and I, we know what we're talking about. And when Peter was 40, in his 40s, which is now 23 years ago, we discovered enzymes.
Yeah, I was introduced to enzymes by a vet. And it turned my life around.
The vet took one look at him and said,
always,
you need enzymes.
I always think I must have looked like a droopy-eared bulldog or something.
And this was a Dr. Liner in Devonport. I can't remember. No, it was a vet we met somewhere at a workshop for health, right? And there was a vet there and he discussed enzymes. And so we actually used to buy enzymes from a vet clinic. And it really turned Peter's entire being around. It was just amazing. Because what enzymes do, they break down the food particles, the bonds that keep your food particles together. They break down the bonds so that your body can assimilate them. And also, they also clean up the waste in your body.
Debris.
So there's a lot of waste in your body that makes you toxic as well. So that was a big change. And then, of course, after I had my accident, we traveled around the world looking for answers to help me. And when we came back from America, in 2009 or 8 or something, I can't remember now, 12 years ago, we introduced beet flow to Tasmania. And so beet flow is something that we're the only ones who sell that in Australia, I'm pretty sure, Pete.
Yeah.
Anyway, and actually in 2006, we introduced iodine. So Pete and I were the first ones, I reckon, to introduce iodine drops into as
We
many.
learned about that from a naturopath from America.
In 2006, when I was looking to heal my body, and so she was one of my teachers. I was a naturopath who cured herself from cancer in America. And when we walked into the classroom, it had iodine on the table, and we thought, wow, what's that crazy brown stuff? We actually had to be convinced about that because we were pretty ignorant in 2006, and we were in Sydney, and I was like struggling, lying in the back of the class on a beanbag because I couldn't sit very well. I was in too much pain. And Peter, from the stress of everything, that night he caught conjunctivitis, and we didn't have anything in our bag to help him, so his eyes was all ganked up. So all we had was the iodine that the teacher had given us, and we diluted a little bit and rinsed Peter's eye out. And then he went to sleep, and the next morning it was completely gone. And so over the years we've learned so much about iodine, and we weren't really at liberty to talk about it so much. So you can just, well, we won't say that much here, but you can download the iodine book of the Purple House website. It's completely free. But I do want to say that all Tasmanian soils are very, very iodine deficient.
Well, I'd say the whole of Australia.
That's right. But in the government, I found it in the government, whatever, books or whatever. So it's legit for me to tell you, because the government even said that themselves. So if you're iodine deficient, your energy doesn't work. Your brain, for babies, their brain doesn't develop properly. There's like so much study that's done, and you really need it. So actually, Pete and I want to tell you about the ultimate vitality boost that we put together. What's the time? Yeah.
It's a pack of those.
It's just 4 steps that get you back on the road. So we've made it very, very easy. 4 easy steps. Beet flow with every meal. Enzymes. This is a really good enzyme, but we've got tons of enzymes because since we discovered how important they are, I reckon we have the biggest enzyme collection in Australia. So do come and check us out. We've got enzymes for your heart, enzymes to detox, enzymes for everything. And then the immunosymbiotic is a really powerful gut.
Pre and probiotic.
A gut healer.
It's encapsulated in a capsule that withstands the stomach acid.
So these are the 4 steps. I'll put a link in. I've written a very long email, but even if you just skim over the top of the first page and share it with everyone, because it's just 4 easy steps that don't break the bank at all, and it's easy to do.
The cost of a cup of coffee a day.
And not only that, it works for everyone. So the oldest testimonial we have was from Bill, who came to us in 2010. That's already 11 years ago.
We had just ourselves been introduced to beet flow at that point in time, 2009.
And so Bill, he had like a sort of a skin rash on his legs that made it impossible for him to walk. And he'd been everywhere for 3 years already. And then he came to Pete. He'd been to different doctors, and Pete had a quick look at his blood under the microscope, which we still do. So that's called a diagnostic session, where we can look at your live blood. And Pete discovered that his issue was really a yeast infection like Candida, right? And so Pete basically gave him the ultimate vitality boost. It didn't have a name in those days. And what happened next? Tell us what happened to Bill.
Well, he came back about a month later, and his rash was completely gone. He had also lost 10 kilograms, and his wife was doing the same as I'd recommended. And she had lost quite a bit of weight as well, and they were walking kilometres.
I know.
Every day. They were on top of the world.
And Bill wasn't young, right? So he was an older guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he'd been to doctors for 3 years, so his gut needed restoring. So the ultimate vitality boost works for your skin, it works for your gut, it works for your mental health.
The skin, it works for the skin because the beet flow gets the bile flow going to get the waste out of the body, so the skin can repair itself. The waste isn't just under the skin anymore, causing disease.
Because if your bile doesn't flow, it's like you flush the toilet and all the stuff comes back up because your pipes are blocked, right? then you need to call in the plumber, because you can't just keep flushing the toilet because it's going to overflow onto the floor. We've had that happen in our family, right? Which is horrible. So actually bead flow is like makes your bile flow, so that it makes it goes in. It's like your plumbing, and it cleans out the pipes.
I say it's like if the rubbish trucks go on strike and the rubbish keeps building up in the cities, it becomes a stinking mess after a while. And that just lands just under your skin, all that mess, because the body tries to get rid of it through the skin.
So the bead flow really supports your liver and your bile flow, and then the enzymes, they support your body to break down the food in a clean way without too much leftovers. But then enzymes still clean up the rubbish anyway. So enzymes, we'd never heard of enzymes, and there are many, many people who've never heard of enzymes, but they literally allow you to live a long, healthy life when you start supplementing, probably from age 28 officially.
We've read articles saying that our kids would benefit if they took enzymes.
I know, because the world's changed so much.
Because
but
our foods are devoid of enzymes.
Except for fermented food. I was going to show you some fermented food, but we've eaten it all already, because we eat it every day. And of course then the immunosymbiotic heals your gut, heals and seals your gut, and it cures everything. Well, what about Clint? What was his story again, that Clint guy that came to you?
He hadn't been able to sleep in the same bed as his wife for about 6 months. He
nice
was,
and quiet.
Just scratching with psoriasis and eczema and a whole heaps of different things. But mainly skin problems causing him to scratch, and
that would have been annoying.
It was cleared within about 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and he's still good, isn't he?
And he's still good. He still comes back and collects his bead flow and enzymes, and he's.
And then we had this lady called Martha. She was an older lady, and she had those ugly what do you call them, keratomas. They're like big brown
age spots, raised
on all over her back and her body. And when she took the ultimate fertility boost, and we think it's probably this that helped, but it's probably everything put together, her keratoma started to fall off, drop off her skin, even though it's actually a genetic thing, right? So people say, well, when it's in your genes, you can't really help it, but you can help it, because your genes still need to be activated. They can be turned on and they can be turned off by giving your body what it needs. So these are like all things that can hack through your difficulty and through your crisis and get your car back on the road without you having to crash. But even when you do crash, like my health was really, of course, terrible. I lost all my health when I got hit by a truck, as you can imagine. And I'm super good now. I am so good that it's embarrassing sometimes. I don't know why it's embarrassing, because like, I guess I'm old fashioned. You shouldn't boast about your good luck and about your health, But the truth is,
it's our right to have good health.
I know, and the truth is, my body was smashed, right? I couldn't walk and I couldn't sit, and then I had to be in a wheelchair, and then I had to be with a walking stick. I had to have a colostomy bag. My bowels were paralyzed. I had to have a catheterized, if you know what that means, empty my bladder manually for years, because I had spinal injuries. And gradually though, my body came right. So our bodies are so amazing. Plus then I had a stint with mental illness, because apparently when you take antibiotics, that leaves you really, really prone to mental illness, right? Unless you...
Well, it kills off all the good guts.
That's right. And so I experienced that firsthand, because the first year after my accident, I think I had 12 courses of antibiotics, might have been 14, because I always had bladder infections, because that's normal for people with paralysis, like everyone who's broken their backs and they can't
have a catheter. Yeah. Straight
away you get a bladder infection. So I had to overcome all that, plus mental illness, which was horrible.
Grada mentioned being in a wheelchair, which reminds me of another client we had who was brought in a wheelchair with a degenerative neurological disorder. And she came in and for a full health analysis. She had the beat flow, but she had some other supplements as well. But she ended up, back walking without a walking stick for 4 or 5 years.
Many good years. So many good years. I want to say your body is like new every year, pretty much. Sorry. It's always renewing itself. And so your body has the blueprint for perfect health as well, which lots of people don't know, that your body does have the blueprint for perfect health. So it's always rebuilding itself according to that blueprint, which is amazing. Because like, even talking about me again, my sacrum was smashed, so it was all gone. And what the surgeons did, they just took some bone and ground it up into bone cement and plonked it back over the lower back where the sacrum used to be. And so the surgeon actually said to me, that's going to take on the right shape again, which is, I actually really liked it that he said that, right? Because I thought that's kind of holistic of him, because I always trust my body anyway. And I had an x-ray a couple of years ago, and it showed that my sacrum was just completely restored back to the original shape, which is like an absolute miracle, right? So our bodies are so amazing, and I want you to know that you're amazing, because you are your body at the moment while you're in the body. And just that you treat it with respect, that you honor yourself, that you give your body what you need, like also water, of course, more water, healthy salt, rest, give your body a rest.
I've had some clients recently who, they didn't have health problems. They came to me and they want to stay healthy so they can stay on the road.
They stay on the, so they're not pushed off the road.
So they're not pushed off the road. They don't get blindsided by some complaint or disorder.
So just check out the links that I'll post in here as well, and have a go and share this with everyone, everyone, right? Whether people have health concerns or not. Doesn't matter how serious your health problems are or not, because Pete and I, we've literally seen everything over the last 21 years since we opened in the year 2000. We've worked with, well, I would say well over 20,000 clients now. And so we have experience in all sorts of problems, also traumas, and also in health, of course. So like, it's finding the way back to happiness, isn't it?
Plus we do everything from massage, reflexology, through to energy healing and the full health analysis, and I run programs these days. I have my own website that's called Grada Robertson, so you can check that out, because I do programs with people to up level their success. So it doesn't matter if you've never experienced success before, if you're already highly successful, I'm going to help you to up level your success, and also double or triple or tenfold your income, because what I do during my programs is I help you to unblock your abundance blockages, and I'll show you where your blind spots are. There you go, that's the blind spot. And I really enjoy doing that. So in a minute I'm going to do a Facebook Live on the Grada Robertson website, now actually Grada Robertson Facebook. So if you want to tune into that, move on over there and check out Grada Robertson Facebook, and then also check out my website as well. So Pete and I, we've also written a book about our experiences. We've each written a memoir, and I've just finished my second book, which goes into mental illness. And it's really good.
And then I'm in the thick of writing my third book, which is a happy book that's about celebrating life, family life with the kids and grandkids, and recipes, and just everyday health hacks for people. So Lots of good things coming your way. Thanks for tuning in again
Okay.
tonight, and I really look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Hope you all stay safe.
Monday.
Oh yeah, Monday. Monday is a public holiday,
Oh,
by the way, but we'll still probably be online. And check out the Ultimate Vitality books, which is just 4 easy steps to regain your health.
You can download the Ultimate Vitality
I'll put a link in as well.
and have a read of that as well. But for your own good health to stay on the road.
And it works for kids as well.
I highly recommend it.
Okay, thanks everyone for
Have a good
tuning
week.
in. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.